Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot with part 3 of my monthly astrological Tarotscope video. In this video, we're going to be covering the signs of Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And this is just going to be talking about what's upcoming for the month of August. So our first card is going to be Sagittarius, and if you want to get to the astrological sign that pertains to you, just use your thumb to scroll forward and find your sign. And also, some people tend to resonate more with their rising sign than their astrological sun sign when getting a horoscope reading. So you might want to listen to the video that also has to do with your rising sign, because there could be a message in there for you as well. So for Sagittarius, the first card is what they have been working on up until this point. And for Sagittarius, they have been facing some major shadows. The Nine of Swords is coming up, and this has been traditionally called one of the worst cards in the deck. Not because it says bad stuff has been happening to you, but because your perspective needed to get cleaned up in some way. And you see this person who's waking up from a nightmare. He's really stressed out, and he's afraid of shadows. He's getting these shadows in his head, and he just can't get out of shadow thinking. But if he were to open his eyes, he'd actually see that he is safe in his bed. And so this card can come up when you're getting stuck in your head, and it could be indicating that up until this point, you have been starting to wake up, you've been starting to shine the light on some shadows so that they're not operating and working you from behind the scenes, and you're confronting them. You're opening your eyes to the shadows. Whenever we see the Nine of Swords, it's indicating that a transition has been happening in regards to your perspective. So this has just been a period where you are returning to the light, and when you're really opening your eyes to your fears and you're realizing that they're not as powerful and as strong as you might have once thought. The second card for Sagittarius is what they're going to be learning during the month of August, what's up ahead. And that's the Six of Swords, which is a much more neutral swords card. The Six of Swords represents going away from the rough waters and going towards the smooth waters. You can see in the foreground are the rough waters, the past, old difficulties, which are also represented by that nightmare of the Nine of Swords. And the smooth waters ahead are indicating that you're headed towards a safer harbor. When I'm seeing both of these cards next to each other, it could indicate that you've gone through a challenging month that's really tested you and your mind, your body, your spirit, but you've confronted this, and now you are finally moving on from it. It's going to finally feel like this really problematic or troublesome time is over with. So this next month for you is going to be wonderful for cooperating with changes and just going with the flow at this time. The next card we have for the Tarotscope is the Capricorn card. And this is going to be what Capricorn has been learning or working on up until this point. Capricorn has been really relentlessly driving forward with your goals, your plans. And sometimes this card is telling you to be careful with your physical body. The Knight of Swords is the cruel taskmaster that we all have in our head, who's telling us to go at all costs, to keep driving forward, to keep pushing forward and pushing through things. And the horse represents your physical body. And you can see the horse is taking a beating from this cruel knight. And this represents that your physical body really needs to be taken care of this month, that you can't push yourself too fast too soon, but instead you really need to be gentle with yourself at this time. Sometimes the Knight of Swords comes up when you need to rest more or just slow down, that you're just trying to accomplish too much too fast. And instead, just be patient at this time. Things will work out in their proper time, but especially be kind to yourself as you're going forward. And sometimes the Knight of Swords can just indicate a mind that is restless. It's rifling from one issue to the next, and it is not stopping. So it could just indicate it's time to breathe, it's time to slow down, and it's time to recenter. The card that represents what you're learning for the next month of August, Capricorn, is the Ten of Cups. And this is a card of gratitude, appreciating your home, and also just stopping and realizing that you're blessed, that things are actually more secure than you think. Whenever I see the Ten of Cups next to the Knight of Swords, I think of the mind that's inventing all these problems or things that need to be solved or things that are making you feel restless or panicked or worried that are causing stress. And that Ten of Cups is saying, stop it. look around, get some perspective, and just look at how good things actually are at this time. If you can stop and appreciate the moment, you're going to be way less stressed. And again, the message of this month is to calm down. All right, so the next set of cards are going to be for the astrological sign of Aquarius. And the first card for Aquarius is what they've been learning up until this point. And they got the Death card, which means a lot of changes and transitions have been hitting Aquarius. Death represents an old way of life that is now dying and a new way of life that is starting up. And you see that rising or setting sun in the horizon. And this is indicating that as the sun is setting here, it's rising somewhere else. So even though the sun is setting in one aspect of your life, it's saying that a new beginning is also at hand. Whenever we see the Death card, you cannot negotiate with death. He is uncompromising. He is just going to come through and change everything. And so this is saying to cooperate with your changes at this time. And death is going to make you change one way or the other. You can either choose to have control over the change by cooperating with it, or you can just have this card dragging you kicking and screaming through your transition. So the important thing for you to do is to just cooperate with what's happening at this time. There is a new beginning that is at hand. And up ahead for you this next month is the Four of Wands. So what you're transitioning towards is not scary, it's not terrible, it's not as bad as it might look. It's actually leading towards an area or a period in your life where you're feeling relief, or you're feeling that you get to really recharge or just relax a little bit more. The Four of Wands is also a social card, so it could indicate that there's some social changes going on or social situations which are now transitioning in your life. And so this just could be a period where it's time to get out of that really heavy change phase and move into something that's a little lighter, a little bit more cerebral, and a little bit more fun as well. The Four of Wands is always saying that the energy is going to be lighting up rather soon. And so you want to cooperate with your changes right now so that you can be ready for this brighter tomorrow when it does come. And also Four of Wands just means hang out with your friends, really reconnect with the people that uplift you in some way. If you've been experiencing difficult transitions or changes up until this point, the Four of Wands is saying it's time to recharge your batteries with the people that are most uplifting to you. And then finally, our last astrological sign is the sign of Pisces. And the first card we have for Pisces is what Pisces has been learning up until this point. And that card is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is a card of getting over challenges and really surviving the trials by fire that life has been throwing at you. You can see the man here on the Nine of Wands is bumped and bruised, and he's really fought hard for all these 9 wands that are behind him, but it hasn't been without some struggle. And so this card can sometimes come up when you've really just pushed yourself very hard to be successful in some way. You'll also notice that the 9 wands in the background of the card are now creating a fence, which is a symbol for a boundary or a barrier. And so this could indicate that you've really worked hard at establishing some boundaries and also regaining some success in your life. And it's so important for you to stand up for that success at this time. So this is just a time to be proud of your accomplishments, but also to keep the boundaries up, especially with people that may be trying to undermine your boundaries or even undermine your sense of victory. And then your final card is the card of what you're learning in the month of August, and that's the Justice card. And whenever we see justice, it's always about telling the truth to yourself. Lady Justice is looking at things very clearly, and she is not getting convoluted with things that are not the facts. The truth is really going to be what's going to set you free. And especially when I see the 9 of Wands next to the Justice card, this is a time to be really honest about your boundaries. Know where the line is between where someone else ends and where you start. It isn't this amorphous thing where you have to share someone else's baggage just because they're around. Also, Justice is saying to really go towards your heart's desire at this time and to be clear about what you want at this time. Really be honest with yourself. If you tell the truth to yourself, you're going to be very successful this next month of August. So that is it for the monthly tarot scopes. I hope you enjoyed them. And if you did, I encourage you to go to elliotoracle.com and schedule a personal tarot session with me. These little mini readings are wonderful, but they're nothing compared to a one-on-one session that goes into all of your questions and concerns. So I hope you have a wonderful month and take care.